I'm Basil Donovan Warren. I'm the author of With It or In It, Desert Shield and Desert Storm from the Loader's Hatch. But it's a book of memoirs of mine from my time as a tank loader during Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm during the first Gulf War. Covers my experience in that conflict from the initial knowledge of the invasion, which occurred on the 1st of August local time for us in El Paso, but also all the way up through arriving back, flying back into the United States, flying back into El Paso International Airport, as a matter of fact. So what I wanted to do is kind of talk a little bit about a blog entry that I put up a couple of days ago. Today is the 13th of February. It's about 11:15 in the morning local time here, Mountain Standard, 2016. And I wanted to kind of explain in a little bit more detail blog entry I put up a couple of days ago about my donations. What I'm going to do is 10% of the income from With It or In It I'm going to donate to the college fund of two young girls who are the daughters of then Lieutenant Kelly Outerkirk, who was the scout platoon leader. I had shot a gunnery with him when I first got to Fort Bliss. He and I was his gunner for one gunnery when he was the platoon leader of 2nd Platoon, which is the tank platoon. Well, one of the two tank platoons in Cyclone Troop, C Troop, 1st Squadron, 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment. And we shot the gunnery. I ended up being the gunner for the troop commander after that gunnery, while he was still the platoon leader of 2nd Platoon, the tank platoon. And then he got moved into the scout platoon leader position for 1st Platoon. 1st Platoon and 2nd Platoon supported each other. We barracked together. We bunked together on field training exercises. 2nd Platoon was the tank support platoon for the 1st Scout Platoon. The 1st Scout Platoon was the reconnaissance element for our, for our little grouping of soldiers there. And he was their tank platoon leader he was their scout platoon leader during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. When we deployed, he was 1st platoon leader. On the 8th of February 2016, he had a series of heart attacks and passed away. And he leaves behind his wife, Karen, and two young daughters. He was in Columbus, Ohio, I think, or in that area, and was working at the time for IBM. And some of the IBMers have set up a fund for his daughters, college trust fund for his two young girls. His daughters are going to miss out on having his fathership, and so I wanted to do a small part of something that I could do to help benefit those children, his children, from those from what he did, how he led, and the lives that he touched. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is Lieutenant Outerkirk was one of my favorite leaders. He was one of my favorite officers, one of my favorite people that I met in the military, and I took his passing roughly. He was a hard-nosed guy, but he was really outstanding as a leader. And I am a better person for having met him, better person for having been led by him. And so I was what I'm hoping to do is to give back to his family some sense of positivity out of the negativity that occurs when your father dies unexpectedly. So that's my story. That's the 10% donation that I'm going to make. And the way that's going to work is that whenever I get the disbursements from Smashwords or from Kindle, from Amazon, when those come in, 10% of it right off the top is going straight into the bank account for those two young girls, up to $10,000. And I say that because if this book makes $100,000 and I'm able to donate $10,000, I will make additional donations at that point because that means it will have been such a tremendously well-selling book that I will be in a position to do even more. I hesitated to bring this up at all. I was going to try to do it as a sort of a mitzvah, behind-the-scenes kind of a thing. partly because I didn't want people to think I was trying to capitalize on Lieutenant Outerkirk's death, and that's something that still bothers me even yet. But I'm going to go ahead and do it because I know that what I'm doing is donating, and I'm not concerned with whether or not people buy my book to make that possible. At the end of this, I'm going to put up the direct link to their GoFundMe that the IBM guys put together. So if you choose to donate on your own, then you'll have a way to do that. But I did want to kind of explain the background a little bit because, unfortunately, to do this, I mean, this video is even longer than I had anticipated. I'll work on editing this when I get to that point. But I at least wanted to explain what was going on and why, so that it would make a lot more sense. And a blog entry, I think, to do this would be so long nobody would read it. If you do choose to purchase my book, I hope you enjoy it. I think most people who enjoy military memoirs will enjoy it. It's a perspective that has not been adequately covered, in my opinion, from Desert Shield and Desert Storm. There are a couple of books by tankers from OIF, from Operation in Iraqi Freedom. There have been a couple of those. There have been a couple of tank officers who have written books. There are some books out there that cover a little bit of this territory, but none from the perspective of the enlisted man in the tank doing the enlisted man's job. And I wanted to make sure that that story got told. If you enjoy military history, I think you'll enjoy this book. But whether you choose to, you may choose to ignore all of it. That's perfectly within your rights as a human being. I dig that. I hope in some small way this allows them to continue to move forward in their lives, and nothing will ever replace or supplant, what they're going to be missing. But at least I feel like this is something that I can reach out and do to make it a little bit better, hopefully. In any event, I wanted to give some small gesture back to Lieutenant Outerkirk's children, to maybe help them make the best out of a bad situation. I really feel heartbroken, just torn to shreds for Karen and for their girls, because they're going to miss having Kelly, and he was a fine human being.